Joe talks about Joe. And now, your host, Joe Slepsky.
Hey, welcome back to Joe on Joe. It's me, your host, Joe Slepsky, and we are back this week for an amazing episode. Just one of the cooler episodes of season 2. And I've got an amazing guest with me today. I've got a fan of the show, is Mr. Davis Grayson, and he is a podcaster for the Fandom Podcast Network. He goes by the name Springer 2017 on Instagram. And Davis, welcome to Joe on Joe.
Hello, sir. I'm very happy to be here. How are you today?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. It's a beautiful Sunday morning in sunny Los Angeles. You are calling from Central Florida, right?
Oh, absolutely. And it's a beautiful rainy afternoon.
Oh, well, it's Florida, so it's going to, well, one, the sun is out when it's raining.
Yeah,
and two, the rain will stop in about 30 minutes, and then it'll be beautiful and sunny and hot and humid again.
Yeah, I think it actually just stopped. So, hey,
see,
that works
nice.
out perfect.
Listen, it's listening to me. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell me about your podcasts on the Fandom Podcast Network. Tell me all about that.
Well, I'm one of the hosts of Couch Potato Theater, where we talk about hidden gems, cult classics, and fan favorites of different films. We started with Transformers the movie in 1986, since that was the 30th anniversary last year. And then we've gone to fan favorites as The Masters of the Universe, Megaforce.
I love Megaforce.
Megaforce is an amazing movie.
I love it.
We've actually talked about the one that's coming in the docket right now is the Eighth Doctor introduction of Doctor Who the movie.
Okay.
We just actually finished working on Planet of the Apes and G.I. Joe, the animated movie, since it is the 30th anniversary.
Of course.
That makes you feel a little old right now.
Yeah. We're gearing up to do Joe on this to the Joe movie on this show. What Planet of the Apes did you cover? Like the original movie or the animated?
Oh, it was the
TV?
original 1968 Charlton Heston one.
I love that movie so much. Huge
It
fan.
is probably one of my favorites, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's so great. It's such a slow burn too. Like it knows what it is and just like takes its time getting there. And like it's like 30 minutes to even see monkeys and I love everything about that movie.
Oh, it is absolutely fantastic. And when you said it was such a slow burn, that could actually be the intro of almost any other movie. You don't know what happens until you actually see the apes.
Totally.
And then it's just that shock.
Yeah, it's Jaws before Jaws before Jaws.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
They could have called the Planet of the You'll Never Believe What's Going to Happen in the Next Hour and a Half. That's what the movie should have been called.
True.
Cool. So it's Couch Potato Theater, but you also do a lot of G.I. Joe work with on Instagram, and your Instagram handle is Springer_2017.
That is correct. I actually I love taking action figure photography, and I've met a few people when I was at JoeCon. He actually had one of the guys that goes by Plastic Battles. He's on Instagram as well.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you've seen him.
I have seen his stuff. Yeah.
His work is absolutely amazing. I'm forgetting his first name right now, but I actually got to meet him, and we talked for a little bit about the different little techniques about photography and everything. And it's so much fun to be able to do stuff like that. And I actually entered the photography contest for the JoeCon, and I was awarded second place. I was very humbled that night.
That's very cool. Congratulations on that. Yeah, before the show, you took me through your Instagram and we found that photo, and I will you can't share photos on Instagram, right?
You know what? I honestly don't know, but if you'd like, I can send that to you.
Yeah, I'll share it. I'll share it with our audience, and make sure that everyone listening can take a look at it, because it's a really good looking photo. You named it Data Drop, and there's a lot of depth. There's a lot of depth to it, and it almost looks photorealistic. Just I think the lighting and stuff that you used really sharp.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So tell me, have you done photography for a long time, or is this a hobby that you've kind of gotten into in order to photograph action figures?
It's funny because I actually back in 2013, I just took some pictures outside of the October Guard of all people. And I posted it on Facebook just to see the reaction to people, and everyone loved it. and thought it was cool and everything. And so I was like, okay. Then I started seeing there was more action figure photographers that would actually start appearing. There's a couple of groups that I'm a part of, and it's not like we're trying to, one up everyone, but it's just seeing, okay, here's my style, here's my techniques, and it's been actually really cool. And I just decided to take it to heart and really start focusing on it.
That's awesome.
Have fun with it.
I love that. I love that. Do you use your cell phone, or do you use an actual like dedicated camera for it?
I had a friend of mine who told me to upgrade to the iPhone 7 Plus because that camera is amazing. I used to just use my iPhone, just taking pictures and whatnot. And so now I actually have an iPhone 7 Plus, and my wife was the one who said, "Oh, here, let me show you how to do it," because she's the real photographer of the family, and
really?
she does an amazing job with that. So I was like, okay. She told me a little techniques. She actually got me like a photo studio I can collapse and actually set up and have the lights and everything in. So
and is it like a little portable carry sized studio that has lights but scaled for action figures?
Yes, absolutely.
That's crazy cool.
Because she bought it for me for my birthday and said, when I saw the reviews, this is why I bought it for you. And it was a picture of Masterpiece Starscream. She goes, I knew you had to have it.
Oh my gosh, that is the woman for you. Let's give her a shout out. What's her name?
She goes by Cooper.
Cooper, awesome. Cooper, thank you for supporting your man. I love it. I love hearing that.
She actually we went on a trip recently to California to see all the great sites that your state has to offer in the southern area, and we went everywhere from Malibu to see the recreation of MASH to La Jolla, and we took some amazing photos. And so while she was taking photos of sea lions, I found an area to start taking photos of Sharktacons coming into the water. So
fantastic. It's a slow invasion, 3 3/4 inches at a time.
Yes, absolutely.
That's awesome. So tell me about JoeCon. So you lived right outside Orlando, and JoeCon was in Orlando, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It was at the Swan and Dolphin at the Disney Resort.
So Walt Disney Resort. Was that your first JoeCon you went to, or?
No, that was actually my third JoeCon. I actually went to one in 2011 when they were at the same place. And then in 2004, they were at the Contemporary.
Cool.
Actually, I'm sorry. That was my fourth one because there was one up in Atlanta. And I actually went to, and I forget where, was it the Marriott in Atlanta? That was probably the coolest set that I got. It was the Tanks for the Memories.
Okay.
And it was the Night Stalker team, and it was Claymore. Lieutenant Claymore from the cartoon.
Yeah.
But it had like some very unique members of the team: Grunt, Flash, Grand Slam, Steeler, and Sparks. He was the figure in that as well. And there was a couple of those. I'm forgetting which ones they are. So but
do you have a pretty sizable collection of action figures, or describe your collection?
It's a lot. It's a lot.
That's great. That's a wonderful way to describe it. Are they? Yeah. Do you have them on display, or do you sock them away and pull them out when needed?
I have a lot on display, and then there's some that I stock out when put in boxes when needed or anything. I know I'm probably going to purge a little bit just to, if I don't need it, send it into cold storage, so to speak. So
sure.
I mean,
mostly vintage.
I look at some
vintage or newer stuff.
Oh no, I still have some of mine from when I was a kid.
Oh, that's great.
And I absolutely love those. And if I'm ever blessed with children, I will actually, give them all the O-ring figures that they can enjoy and everything. So the modern era, I didn't really start collecting them until I gotten a few, and I was really bummed out with some of them because I don't know if it was just quality control, but like I bought a Flint and the Flint figure, I pulled him out of the packaging and everything, and the arm broke. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, that's no good.
So I finally, it was during the Resolute Resolute and Renegades
Mm-hmm.
is when I actually started collecting the figures, and just I don't know if it was what it was, but the figures just seemed so much better, so much nicer, and
They're really
I
good
fell
looking.
back in
Yeah.
love with them.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
really good looking for sure.
And with all the different Kickstarters that have been going on over the years, the Marauders, the Hacks, the one with the Animal Kingdom, I forget the name of it. It's actually some really cool lines, but they have been doing really, really well. And so I've gotten some of the Valkyries, of course, and made a few figures and everything with that.
Oh, that's exciting. Do you, for your older stuff, do you like kit bash and make custom figures at all, or is it, or even do you repair your old ones, like upgrade the O-rings and things like that?
Oh, a lot of the older ones they've kept pretty much in storage of the older ones. The newer ones, the more modern era, after a couple of cuts and bruises on hands and whatnot, I've been able to finally figure out the proper technique to take them apart and everything. I do love painting some of them. A couple of them that I did not realize how bad the paint would be with the plastic, and I used not acrylic, but I used enamel.
Okay.
And that was the worst thing to ever do with an action figure.
Okay, well, what is I don't paint them myself, so what does that do to it?
It actually just makes it really tacky and makes it so where it just never dries. But with the acrylic, it just has that better look to it and
that's
everything.
A good tip.
So,
That's a great tip.
I had a friend of mine who actually customized Transformers for many, many years. I don't know if he still does that now, because I know he took a break for a while, but he would actually make from like a 1/32 model.
Mm-hmm.
He would buy the model and actually cut it and do the proper techniques for transforming it and everything.
Customizing Transformer seems like an incredibly hard thing to do.
Oh yeah, when he was telling me how much he would actually sell them for and how much time he actually went into those, I was like, wow, I am so impressed. He did a repaint for me. It was a Cosmos from it's now re-released.
That's the little UFO guy, right?
Yeah, and he actually painted. Remember the old GoBots Pathfinder?
Not specifically, but was he a Jeep?
She was a UFO.
Oh, she was a UFO. Okay.
Yeah, and so
thank you for correcting
her.
Thank you for correcting the gender of a GoBot. I appreciate that.
Well, she was female in the cartoon.
Okay,
so,
hey, fair enough. No, hey, you know what?
But he actually repainted her from a Cosmos mold.
Oh,
everything.
Awesome.
So it was pretty sharp, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty great. Cool. Well, we are gonna watch an episode called My Favorite Things.
All right.
I love this episode. Did you recall this from your early days of watching G.I. Joe?
I did. When you told me that was the episode we were going to watch, I said, let me just get a little refresher on that. And I remember watching it, and I'm going, this is a cool episode. It has some of the hijinks that ensue in the episode is pretty funny. It's cool, but I love the bantering between a couple of characters we'll probably talk about in here. But it was a decent episode.
Yeah, I mean, this is really the unofficial sequel to Arise Serpentor Arise. It's like Arise Serpentor 2.5, you know?
Yeah.
Like if that show had continued, he'd have gotten home and been like, "Hey, I had all this cool collectible stuff." That's the other thing I like about this show. He's essentially us in this. Serpentor is essentially us in the show. Like, "Hey, I had all this cool stuff. I miss it. I want to go get it." You know,
Yeah.
and that's a collector. That's what we do. It's like when in the Starman comic book, when James Robinson had Jack Knight be a collector, you identify with it because you're like, oh yeah, Jack loves all this old stuff. Serpentor loves all this old stuff. That's what I'm into too.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Well, Davis. Oh,
yes.
You know what? I did want to ask you, going back to the photography stuff, for any budding action figure photographers out there, do you have any tips for them? Like any lighting tricks or any, just any tips that you can give them as far as to make their pictures pop a little bit?
I know there's several different apps you can actually get on your phone, like Lightroom. You can actually use for photo to help with the photo, maybe decrease the clarity or dehaze it or anything. But you can always Paul, that was his name, who actually at JoeCon was telling me so you could actually just use anything white to actually bounce off the bounce off the light to make the figure itself actually pop a little bit more. There's certain times a day to take the photos because you don't want the sun right up above you.
Okay.
You know, maybe about between 10:30, 11, something like that, like a golden hour, and like right before right after sunrise and right before sunset. Those are some great opportunities to take photos. Also, you don't want to take photos if it's really, really hot because your action figures will start to bend or start to have any type of damage. Since I've used my iPhone before, I actually got to the point where the screenshot came up and said, you cannot use your phone. It's too hot.
Oh, wow.
I've never seen that before. And I was like, well, I'm going to stop right now.
Yeah. And you're in Florida. So it's,
yeah. And the other technique I would actually suggest anyone doing is try to get as close as you can to the actual toy for it looks like they're much bigger than they actually are.
Like holding a fish in front of you when
Right.
you catch a fish, holding it out front towards the camera. That kind of optical illusion?
Kind of like that, where you still have a little bit of the background, but you still makes it, if you get down to their level, instead of actually doing like a higher aerial shot where it looks more like a toy, where you want to get more close up and have that detail to it. And also, I mean, the most important thing with photography or with any type of hobby, collecting, customizing anything, is have fun with it.
Yeah.
That is the most important thing.
I love it. I love that you said that because that's what we like to do here. That's why we do this.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun to watch the shows. It's fun to talk about it with people. It's fun to meet new people such as yourself, Davis Grayson.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is awesome. Hey, everybody. And speaking of meeting people, if you're out there on the internet and you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, you're on Twitter, you can find me at Joe on Joe Pod. And if you want to send me an email to joeonjoepod@gmail.com, I will love to hear from you. Let me know if you like the show, hate the show, want to be on the show because you hate the show. Whatever it is, you reach out and you contact me. If you're on iTunes, leave me a review. If you're on Stitcher, leave a review. Leave a review. You know what? Leave a review in the bathroom at your work. Just write Joe on Joe Pod makes me want to take a crap. Just leave it. And people will be like, what's this Joe and Joe Pod, and why would it make me regular? That's what I want to talk about. So without any further ado, Davis Grayson, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to enjoy this episode. We're going to watch my favorite things. Are you all set?
I am all set, sir.
Awesome. And here we go.
Yo, Joe!
All right. So, did you have any of these toys growing up?
I had everything but the flag.
Oh, really? Love it.
Yeah. I did not have some of the figures, mind you, but I had a lot of the different styles. And we'll talk about this probably later in the episode, but a Conquest, I've always wanted to see a two-seater Conquest. I've always wanted to see if I can attempt to put a second seat in there.
That's pretty awesome. Have you customized vehicles?
I have before. I've customized a few of them here and there.
And like which ones do you recall?
Well, one I just did recently. I turned a shuttlecraft from the Galoob series from Star Trek Next Generation.
Uh-huh.
I painted it more of a white, put a red stripe, and I made it a Autobot shuttle for the only human figures.
Oh, cool. So this is My Favorite Things, written by Doug Booth, who is a very talented writer. So we know this is going to be a good episode. Well, speaking of Transformers, we should point out your Instagram name, Springer, references your favorite Transformer.
Yes.
And
he's
why
leader
is
of the
that?
Wreckers.
You told me why before?
Well, he's the leader of the Wreckers, not only of one unit, but 2 units, and still survived. And, he ended up on Earth, and it's just chilling out there. And he got RC in the cartoons as well. So.
Oh, see? There you go. I mean, that's good enough reason to appreciate the man's work.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we are
I'm going to admit.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No.
I was just going to say, I really thought that it was going to be another plot to the story about when the lady walks in going, oh, this is my uncle from this one. And we never hear any more about that one.
No, it's just window dressing.
Yeah.
It's just window dressing. Unless, turns out she's actually Serpentor's cousin. And later on, she shows up and is like, "It's my like Game of Thrones. Like she's related by 3 drops of blood, so it's her right to rule Cobra now." What we do get though is we get a bat that was hiding in this Russian castle. This is where the show started. It was the home of Rasputin, and a bat was hiding in a sweet suit of armor. He escapes, grabs this painting of Rasputin, jumps out the window like a James Bond beginning, and the picture gets tossed into a night raven, and the bat survives the fall and just starts marching back to Cobra Island or wherever they're going, pulling a pitchfork out of himself like Jason. And there's a moment there where that bat shows signs of higher intelligence. Did you catch that?
Yes. I thought that the entire time. I'm going, wow, this bat has a better AI than any other bat I have seen.
Thank you. He turns his head and he looks at the plane go away. And when you think about what Serpentor said of he'll find his way home, I think that bat is like a special bat. Like a super programmed bat or something like that. Because normally they get blown up.
We could be.
Oh, we could be? Yeah. What? The dawn of the Transformers?
We could be seeing the dawn of Overkill. There we go. We just saw it.
I think
the
so.
Birth of Overkill.
I think so. I think you're right. Here's the most amazing thing. Oh, a couple things. One, real world awesomeness. The animation they did as Serpentor's face was changing, they were reflecting it in Cobra Commander's face shield, and it looked gorgeous. Like it was a really advanced bit of animation for the show. Like it's really subtle and cool. Second awesome thing is Serpentor has shown now the ability to grow facial hair at a moment's notice.
Yes, absolutely.
He goes from mustache to beard to finely combed mustache to to biker mustache. This man is amazing. He has hair growth abilities that the Hair Club for Men would murder for.
It's all that genetic manipulation that Mindbender did.
Yeah, it's reminiscent of when Wolverine would get all tore up and he'd get like burned in a fire and his hair would all grow off, and then as he healed, his hair would grow exactly perfect to the sideburns again. And readers would be like, "Why do his sideburns grow back perfectly shaved?"
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like I even read a no prize explanation where that's just his genetic, like the genetic way Wolverine's hair grows naturally.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, we've got the Joes. They're in like Denmark.
They're in some NATO headquarters area because they're for a convention or a conference or something.
Yeah, and a bunch of hydrofoils come into because a dam burst, and so the water's flooding this town, and hydrofoils just ride the wave in. I feel like that's a pretty large boat to ride in on a dam burst thing, but I'll take it.
Stranger things have happened.
True.
I mean, who would have thought that a sporting good area would actually have usable tanks at a moment's notice?
100%. And who would think that 2 berets and a marine hat would stay on their head as they swim underwater? We've got double beret action going on right now, ladies and gentlemen, and both hats are staying on.
They did the Harrison Ford technique. They just stapled the hat to the head.
You're right. Yeah, you're totally right.
You see on this part where Cobra Commander says not yet, Frogman. You have to wonder if he knew if that was actually wetsuit.
Ah, interesting. Oh yeah, because wetsuit's not in. He's not in his. The one time wetsuit's not in his wetsuit.
Yeah, he's in casual attire.
It's so funny because they always so wetsuit and Deep Six are always alternately in the wrong outfit. Did you ever notice that? We talked about this once a couple episodes ago. They draw Deep Six hanging out in the pit in his Deep Six outfit. Mm-hmm. But wetsuit standing right next to him is in normal street clothes.
Yeah.
And it's like, take your deep six outfit off. Like you're on land, dude. And now they're actually in water, and Wetsuit's not in his wetsuit. Like it's a weird decision for the water guys. Serpentor just once again showed his ability to grow facial hair as he got big bushy gray beard, and now he had a thick mustache. And we're going to guillotine Leatherneck as we go into the commercial break. We'll be right back. Today's file card feature is on the Cobra La Emissary, codenamed Pythona. Her primary military specialty is Herald, and her secondary specialty is Assassin. Pythona is the royal messenger of King Golobulus and the harbinger of destruction to all that encounter her. She is a highly skilled assassin, and her stealth and infiltration abilities are unequaled. Her kingdom and its cult-like followers have a burning hatred of humanity, believing the world's natural beauty is being destroyed by modern industrialization. This has set her on a path to spearhead its downfall. Pythona is a nightmare personified. Contradicting tales describe her as either a stunningly beautiful creature or frightening banshee. The hard truth is that anyone that has had the misfortune of crossing her path only lives long enough to deliver her message of doom. It is said that she utilizes razor-sharp claws imbued with a deadly poison to dispatch anyone who is the target of or dares to impede her mission. Rumors such as this and her allegedly deathly pallor suggest that she may be the subject of biogenetic manipulation, and her quote is "prepare for eternity." Pythona has a rare place in G.I. Joe history where she was a major villain in the cartoon. However, she didn't get a action figure until 2016. The first Pythona came out as a figure in the 2016 official G.I. Joe Collectors Club membership exclusive figure. But when they did put that figure together, she looked fabulous. She has the cloak, she has the purple outfit with the crazy kind of speckled purple designs. Her face looks amazing. She's got long finger claws. She's got tentacles that attach to the body. She's got the ponytail that she had. And who can forget her entrance on the show where she carves her way into the Cobra Terrordrome using those poison talons to just melt the wall away. Pythona was really cool. Why they didn't include her on the 3-pack of Cobra La soldiers back in the day, I don't know. I'm assuming just because, girl figures don't sell, something along those lines. I'm a big fan of Pythona. So, Pythona, the Cobra La emissary, thank you for finally being cast in plastic, and we salute you.
Now, back to G.I. Joe.
Because Serpentor got his hands on his favorite axe, and he's using that to straight murder. Oh, his axe got first of all, his axe is named Skull Splitter. That's pretty awesome.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's like,
because wasn't it from a Viking, Baldric the Impaler, or something? Yeah.
Well, that's like what Thor would name his axe.
Yeah,
like God Slayer, Skull Splitter, that kind of thing. That's really awesome. Serpentor's just throwing Leatherneck around. And Serpentor's outfit kind of looks like it's a Frogman outfit anyway.
Yeah.
I like that they had the sense enough to take the cape off of him.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we see NATO headquarters where Mainframe has been chilling out the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Mainframe's like, hey guys, I'm just here for a quick cameo.
Totally.
Marine.
Now this
I love the banter between Wetsuit and Leatherneck.
Thank you. I was just gonna say that. This is one of the better episodes for that banter. It's so fantastic. Again, though, Wetsuit not in his outfit. Why is he not in his outfit? Look at that picture of Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
That picture of Genghis Khan was a glamour shot. Genghis Khan. I'm not even joking. The first picture they showed, that was Genghis. I think it was supposed to be Genghis Khan. That was him sitting in a mall somewhere, going like, "Is this a good look? Like,
how about when I raise my eyebrow?
Yeah, should I put my hand on my chin, or should I put it next to my head?" That was a glamour shot, Genghis Khan.
Now, I don't know if you see this, but Lift Ticket is with him as well because he's bringing the Tomahawk, which I'm convinced the Tomahawks are all supersonic because they travel anywhere very quickly.
They go very fast. Very fast. I love the Tomahawk, but they travel like ravens on Game of Thrones.
Yeah, pretty
Let's
much.
be honest.
but it's one of my favorite helicopters. I actually had that one.
That
as
toy
a kid.
was the best. That so many like points of play and points of like, just things to do with it. It was like a base in and of itself. There, you could go through the back, go through the sides, go through the front. Again, Wetsuit never puts his outfit on, but don't want to get too far without saying they used the G.I. Joe gliders again, which they hadn't used in a while. And that was a toy. I never had that toy, but it was cool. It was like 2 feet long. Like
yes, it came with grunt.
Yeah, and it actually glided. Glided. Either way, it's nice to see the gliders in use again.
Everyone else, come on.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it was one of the cool things to see, but I didn't realize that they would be that small, or that Tomahawk would be that big for all those gliders to be in there.
Well, they collapse, don't they? Fold up on the show. Isn't that how they do them? I don't know if they animated it. I don't think they animated it like that here, but I think on the show we've seen it where they fold out and they go, and then they fly away. Leatherneck doing more underwater diving than his buddy Wetsuit. He swims underneath this castle to sneak inside. I don't know how he knew there'd be an opening there, but he did. He figured it out.
Now we see that's the same bat.
Yeah.
From earlier.
Yeah. It's amazing. That bat is absolutely a special bat for sure.
Yeah.
Wetsuit is fighting this bat, and they fall over these giant spikes.
You okay, Froggy?
The bat gets impaled.
But you turned my metallic buddy.
Oh, and we shouldn't go too far to remind. We're back at Vlad Tepes' castle, which is where we were in the Rise of Serpentor Arise. That's one of the locations. Remember, that was one of the locations they went for Serpentor's DNA. So this is one of the cool callbacks.
So what do you think of Serpentor? The whole concept behind it.
I like it. I think it's great. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Like I think. So Serpentor's throwing a dart tipped with his blood at these guys, and we know that his blood is. Oh, we don't know yet that his blood is nasty. We're gonna find out later. I like Serpentor. I think. It's that Jurassic Park science of, once we get the DNA, we can clone things, and why not operate in a world where Cobra knows enough about DNA to say this. Yeah, we're seeing that in real science all today. They're saying this gene controls whatever. This gene controls your hair color, how tall you're going to be. So Cobra taking it to the next extension and saying, maybe it's his aggression or his cunning. We're going to commercial. Be right back. Hey there, Joe and Joe listeners. I want to take a moment to get serious this week. We all love G.I. Joe. And what's G.I. Joe called but a real American hero? And in these last few weeks, America's been dealing with a crisis called Hurricane Harvey. So I'm asking you, my Joe on Joe listeners and friends and family, to reach into your pocket and donate what you can to the Red Cross as they help rescue people who were caught in the path of Hurricane Harvey. The easiest way to do this is to donate by text on your smartphone. All you do is text the word Red Cross, one word, no space, to 90999. That will give $10 to the American Red Cross Disaster Relief Fund. This will help people affected by these disasters. Now, charges will appear on your wireless bill or they'll be deducted from your prepaid balance, and all purchases must be authorized by your account holder. You must be 18 years of age or have parental permission to participate in this. Message and data rates may apply. But G.I. Joe is called a real American hero, and every week we watch and we marvel and we laugh at and we enjoy watching animated adventures of these heroes going about their day-to-day. But right now, there are real heroes on the ground, some of whom may be listening right now, and they need our help. The Red Cross will help get people back on their feet. They're going to provide emergency services, water, food, shelter. That's what they do. So if you want more information to donate on your own, go to redcross.org or just send that text, Red Cross, to 90999. That'll send $10 immediately to the American Red Cross Disaster Relief Fund. So this week, as we watch Real American Heroes, you have the opportunity to be a real American hero and donate to the Red Cross to help victims of Hurricane Harvey. Thanks for listening. Thanks for donating. And yo, Joe.
Now back to G.I. Joe.
So yeah, I was down with Serpentor. I think the reason he gets a little bit of a bad rap because he's a little goofy looking. Wearing a snake outfit and this I command and all this stuff. But I'm on board, man. I'm a fan.
I always thought it was just really, really cool to actually see that, see the whole concept, how it actually laid out. And I think he was done a little bit differently in the comic books, but overall, I thought it was cool.
Yeah, totally. It was a little different. Yeah, like they used like Storm Shadow was a part of him, and Larry Hama definitely treated him a little more seriously.
Yeah.
And then he dropped out of use a little bit, and then he eventually got killed and all that stuff. But
right.
Yeah, I was a fan of Serpentor. Well, speaking of a fan of Cobra, if you were a member of Joe or Cobra, Davis, we like to ask our guests this question: if you were a member of either team, what would you be, and what would your specialty be? What would your name be?
So I would be on the Joe team. And if you remember back in 2002, there was a Joe figure that was released. His name was Surefire.
Okay.
And he was part of the CID, which is the Army's Criminal Investigation Division.
Okay.
And I said, you know what? I always wanted to go into the Navy. And I said, I would be an awesome NCIS agent for the Joe team.
The embodiment of my greatest power.
And, to be the investigator because there was a lot of branches that had Navy, Coast Guard, and Coast Guard has their own team, but, had the Navy. There was a lot of different members of the Navy. We actually had a flag. So normally there is an agent on a flag or another supporting ship. So I said, okay, that would be cool. So my name would be Peacemaker.
Peacemaker. I like that a lot. And I love the NCIS part of it. That's very cool.
I just thought it would be something different and unique,
Yeah, I like that a lot. And, as we know from the show, the Joes are always on water. So I feel like as a naval crime investigator, you'd be very busy.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are multiple crimes happening all the time on the show on water.
I mean, especially if you're on the flag the whole time.
Oh, my God, yeah, just left and right. That's fantastic. So to catch up what we're doing on the show, Leatherneck, he got scratched by that venomous dart that Serpentor threw, and that poisoned him because Serpentor's venom is terribly toxic.
Yes.
We now meet Serpentor's giant pet snake, which is hundreds of years old, and it is enormous. Serpentor's face now morphs into that of a snake, which tells me they also use snake DNA in making Serpentor.
I was wondering if this part was actually in a Serpentor Rise, because I don't remember, and I'm wondering if this is kind of foreshadowing Cobra La.
I think it does foreshadow Cobra La. I don't know if they intended it, but it was not in a Serpentor Rise. I don't remember a giant snake. But I love that he's got this giant snake. The snakes are talking to him. He must have snake DNA in him.
No, but I told
and Lifeline just stopped the wetsuit from using his gun on snakes. So that's how much of a pacifist he is. That's how much to the cause he is. So here we go. We're going to get a demonstration of Serpentor's venom. This is what we're going to see. Why Leatherneck is so sick. He's drinking the nectar of the snake. We also got a lot of Indiana Jones references going on here too.
Oh yeah,
with wetsuit being afraid of snakes. And this is obviously pre the Last Crusade, but you've got him drinking out of the goblet.
Yes,
it's very Indiana Jones reminiscent, and we see that his venom melted a whole golden table with his venom. So that's how toxic his venom is. And I think you're right, real quick, to revisit what you said earlier. I think you're right that bat goes on to become overkill.
I mean, it kind of makes sense, or at least part of it does. But I do like the story that Lifeline, shares with Wetsuit at this moment.
The bat that tried to turn me into seal on a stick.
So this is Wetsuit's quest for vengeance is amazing. He has to attack the bat and in doing so, endangers just everything. He behaves like Cobra Commander behaves half the time.
Yeah.
And he gets rid of the only thing that they can make the anti-venom from.
Now we'll have to get it from the Cobra.
One of the cool, speaking of Overkill, he was a boss in the G.I. Joe Atlantis Factor Nintendo game. Did you ever play the Nintendo games?
I'm trying to remember if I did. I don't think I ever did.
They were awesome.
A little bit.
They were
cool.
Awesome. I know you can get them on like emulators and stuff. I have them. I have an actual functional old school NES, and I can play them
Nice.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the games were great. Like they had a lot of just, you could play like 5 or 6 Joes. The second game was better. Like the first game was decent. The second game, playability wise, was cool. But it had like the late 80s, early 90s versions of the Joes, like 3rd generation Snake Eyes. I think Big Ben was in there.
That's cool.
2nd gen rock and roll. It was Duke or Hawk. I think it was Hawk. Yeah, you were Hawk. And it was, those Joe games for like the Atlantis Factor and then the first one, fantastic. And you like worked your way around a map, and you could go different routes too. So like if I played it one way to get to the end and beat Cobra, I could play it a second way and go a different route on the map to also beat Cobra. So
that's very cool.
Yeah, so it had a little difference in replayability to it. I'm a big fan of those games.
So I will tell you right now, Wetsuit just threw a grenade that was great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million.
Oh, he really did.
And
that was.
I'd
sign him up for a football team because he threw the biggest grenade. Like he threw that grenade so far, country mile, as they used to like to say.
Yes.
And one grenade destroyed the entire Cobra ship.
Yeah, and that, like I said, that was 1 shot in a million.
Yeah. I mean, this is crazy. Now, Serpentor Snake, for some reason, just turns away and goes down into a cavern, seemingly to his doom, but you never know. He could still be alive down there.
I mean, so we see Lifeline and Wetsuit in a 2-seater conquest, which would have been cool. And Lifeline pilots it away.
Yep.
Which, say what you will, but I've always liked the fact that at least almost all the Joes knew how to pilot.
Yes, they were
right,
but also made like Ace a little redundant. This is cool. So what Serpentor does have is he has a little baby snake.
Yes.
I hope we revisit that at a future episode. I don't recall if we do or not as we're talking.
So did you happen to see that magazine that Leatherneck was reading?
It looked like G.I. Joe the magazine.
It was G.I. Joe the magazine, yeah.
Yeah, like the one you could subscribe to during that time. Yeah, that's exactly what it looked like. He's reading a magazine about his own exploits.
Yeah.
He broke the fourth wall, grabbed something, and brought it back in to the fourth wall.
Oh, yeah.
And this is great. So these two just bicker like 2 old, crippled, sick men.
So during this time, I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember the Brazilian mission set?
Oh, yeah. I had that.
And it had Wetsuit, Leatherneck, Dial-Tone, Claymore, and who's the 5th member?
I'll find out in 1 second.
Mainframe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep, totally.
That was
Special
all I remember.
Missions Brazil, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one. That was like the one special set that I had when I was a kid, and it came with the cassette tape, and I still have those. And and that was like, I think that was the first time that they did something like that where they recolored the figures. They remolded them in different colors and then re-released the same figures like that, I think.
Oh yeah, and they also had the adventure tape that was included with it.
Totally. And then my understanding is like that was so successful, that's what led them to like go further and just constantly do the repaints and the reissues and stuff.
And was that a Toys R Us exclusive? I can't remember.
It was a Toys R Us exclusive. Yep, released in '86.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice, because I know in 2011 they had the Brazilian mission. The Joe-Con set was a mission 2.
Oh, cool.
And it actually came with Sparta a part of that set, or was she part of the secondary part of the set? But I know Captain Claymore was in that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So very, very cool.
I'm actually on yojo.com, which is a great resource. So if anyone listening here,
awesome set,
awesome site,
awesome
the best
website.
site. Yeah. So huge shout out to yojo.com. You guys run a wonderful website. But it says, so there was a bag of weapons that came with the Special Missions Brazil, and originally they would be extremely difficult to find. However, in later years, a toy dealer purchased Hasbro's leftover stock, and he made them available to toy collectors, thereby reducing the value to all of us who kept them in good shape. Damn you, toy collector.
Gotta love it, right?
So that was the episode, Davis. What'd you think overall?
You know what? It was an enjoyable episode. It was, it gave a little bit more character depth to Serpentor himself, because he was trying to be completely powerful, and by adding all of his collectibles, he would be that way, which I thought was, like we said, interesting, with the face changing, the hair growing, the hair, receding, genetic manipulation. That's what it's all about.
It's totally what it's all about. Yeah. It's some people think it's about the hokey pokey, but it's not. It's not. It's all about genetic manipulation and face changing. Yeah, I do. I dig this episode a whole lot. I like how it sets seeds for future, future stuff with him getting the snake, and I love your connection with Overkill. That's absolutely that bat, because we didn't see that bat die. He stumbled away. That bat became Overkill, absolutely, or at least his AI was used for it. 100%. That's great. I'm a fan, man. This is like a Rise Serpentor Rise Pop 5.5. So nice. For sure. And I'm a fan of you, Davis. Thanks for joining me this week.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I've had so much fun listening to it, and I have a commute to work every day. So, it's always fun to be able to pop in and listen to your newest episode.
That makes me feel great. Thank you so much. That's why we do this, man. So remember, if you're out there and you're on Instagram, you can see some of Davis's awesome artwork. These fantastic pictures at Springer_2017. So make sure you go and do that immediately. And if you're not on Instagram, get on Instagram in order so you can do that, so you can give him some love. Davis, thank you so much for joining Joe on Joe.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
And now you Joe, and Joeing is half the battle.